What's going on, guys, and welcome back to another video. And welcome to your stimulus package update and daily news report for Saturday, February 12th. So in today's update, we got a huge IRS announcement. This is something that you do not want to miss. I will address this first. Then I will jump into the stimulus package update, what we're hearing there. We also got some major pandemic news, and we got some warnings from the federal government regarding the situation over in Ukraine. So, got to update all those things right now. Here's what we know. Recently, the IRS has stated that they were behind by millions of correspondents. They knew that there was millions of people that have yet to get their tax returns for 2020 processed. And they stated that, yes, they understood that they had millions of unprocessed tax returns, but they were starting to catch up. This was before, okay, just to give you an idea, this was before our tax returns for 2021 started coming in. Now they're saying that currently they have about 24 million returns that are backlogged. They knew initially that in 2022, they were going to have a very difficult time. This was going to be a very tough time for the agency. We just didn't know how difficult it is going to be. Now we do. This number of 24 million returns, this is much larger than what was previously reported by the IRS. And according to multiple people from the IRS that did not want to be named, they are stating that this backlog is due to the fact that the IRS itself is struggling to hire new agents and they aren't able to train people fast enough. So that's creating much of the issues. Now, a group of 30 Senate Republicans just on Thursday, they wrote a letter to Secretary Janet Yellen and they told her that the situation is untenable. Now, they didn't discuss any additional spending for the agency though, and that's key because that was what we saw originally in the Build Back Better Act, was that the IRS needed additional funding. They were going to get about $80 billion, but that is not what was being discussed. So what happens here, we don't know. But according to expectations, they're saying that just understand that your tax returns will most likely be processed in a much slower manner. So just keep that in mind. If you are needing your money right away, you should have filed your taxes already. Then I've been saying this since probably about 2 weeks before the tax returns started to get accepted, is start preparing because we are going to see more and more delays. Now, here's something we also know regarding the IRS. During times of high inflation, one of the things that normally happens is the American people are pretty much given an additional lifeline from Congress. Normally, Congress tries to improve the tax code to help out the American people. Now, this usually involves things like additional write-offs and deductions. But experts say that this time of high inflation might be completely different because currently, Congress doesn't have the ability in a 50-50 split Senate to get anything like this done, especially in this time. So they are saying that if you were hoping that there's going to be additional write-offs to help you over these difficult times, just understand that might not be the case. Okay, it still could happen, but experts are saying do not expect this because they are not expecting this either. Now, right now, the IRS is waiting for money from the Build Back Better Act. It's probably not coming because currently the Build Back Better Act is hanging by a thread. And many Democrats are saying, both in the House and the Senate, they're wondering if Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer even has the ability to get something like this over the finish line. Now, right now, he's really had only one major bill. That was the American Rescue Plan that he was able to get over that finish line. And that was due to a budget reconciliation. So it only took 51 people in the Senate, 51 Democrats, 50 Senate Democrats and Vice President Kamala Harris. Now, yes, the $1.2 trillion bipartisan infrastructure bill, that's a huge bill. It honestly is a huge bill, but that was really crafted by a group of bipartisan senators which didn't include Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. And so some question whether following his leadership at this point is even working. And right now, according to all reports, even statements from the White House, Senator Joe Manchin is the one that's making the calls. Not Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. It's Senator Joe Manchin that's making the calls. And so it's interesting what's happening, but Democrats are now somewhat pushing it back against their leader because they're saying they don't know if his leadership is going to get them that end result, which is going to be the Build Back Better Act. So we'll see. But according to multiple Democrats, their plan very soon is to have votes, and they want to force Republicans to vote yes or no, because by doing it this way, Democrats can use the Republican votes against their own campaigns. So in right now, the hopes would be to get voters to realize that Republicans have been standing in their way from getting anything done all this time. Now, whether this works or not, I have doubts, because here's the problem. Moderates also don't want some things that Democrats are asking for. So if this happens and there are some Democrats that vote against the legislation, this could put the Democratic Party in jeopardy as well. So there's a lot of issues here, but that's what Democrats are currently calling for is, hey, let's move forward with votes. Let's get everybody on record of voting yes or no, and then we can pretty much attack them at that point. Which again, it's a great strategy, but I don't think it's going to work in this instance. In some cases, in some years, that has worked flawlessly. But this year, I just have many doubts. So we'll see what happens. But again, we'll know more probably over the next couple of months what they decide to do. Now, in the news from around the world, President Biden has a call with Vladimir Putin this morning. As of right now, they should be on a call. This is going to be a very intense call. The U.S. is going to be taking every precaution possible, though. And as of right now, they've actually ordered an evacuation of the U.S. Embassy ahead of this call. What we do know, okay, is that we will get more information on this call later on today. As we do, I promise I will fill you in on those updates as we get them. One thing that we did hear this morning, though, is that Russia is hoping for some type of concession from the United States. We don't know exactly what, but we do know they're hoping for some type of concession. Now, as soon as we know what that means, I promise I'll fill you in on that update as soon as we get it. All right? Let's get into some COVID news for today. Because according to the U.S. Surgeon General Murthy, he says that as the pandemic improves in the U.S., we should be pulling back on restrictions. Now, some state governors have already begun doing this, which is great, but he said that the conversation now is about what should determine when this happens. What should the metrics look like? And this is what he said. He said, and I quote, "The pandemic is not over today. We are still seeing record numbers of hospitalizations, deaths, and cases in this country." He also goes on to say, it's likely going to be some combination of the hospitalization rate or hospital capacity itself, which is about healthcare staffing, about the death rate, and also just about where we're going in terms of cases. So they're having discussions at this point as to what are the metrics going to look like. Here's the issue. This is what governors have been asking for months from the White House. And now they're just getting to the conversations. This is how far back the White House has been, pretty much this past year. Yes, they are taking the steps. And I applaud the effort from the White House of being cautious. But at the same time, some experts and economists are saying, being too cautious could potentially send our economy into a spiral. And that's the exact same approach that many experts are saying the Federal Reserve took, is they were being too cautious, and now we're seeing massive amounts of inflation. So again, I applaud the efforts of the Biden administration for doing what they have done. The only issue is it's a little slow. They're lagging behind, and this delay is causing a lot of harm. So Again, I don't know how, and I don't know again what metrics they're going to go off of, but this is the key, is we have to know the metrics so every state can follow that metric. If they don't, every state is going to be a little bit different. So we'll see what happens, but let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. What do you think the metrics should look like? Also, Pfizer, just yesterday, they have withdrawn their emergency use authorization request from the FDA. They are saying that they actually need more data to support the 3-dose vaccine for children 6 months to 4 years old. As somebody with a 2-year-old, I'm glad that they are withdrawing their request when they don't have enough data. But for somebody like me, if let's say they were going to give the vaccines tomorrow, I wouldn't just subject my 2-year-old to a vaccine on day 1. I wouldn't do that personally. I would continue to wait, be patient, do my own research, my own due diligence to make sure it is safe before I would subject my child to any of that. So right now they're saying that this would most likely, this new request for a EUA will most likely come sometime in April. I know a lot of people are very upset by this, but good news is they're going to get more data. So at least we could be assured that it's going to be safer, I hope. Also, here's what we know for adults. The COVID booster shots lose their potency after just 4 months. Dr. Fauci says there may be a need for a 4th dose, but here's what some are asking, and I know you guys have brought this up many times before. If a 3rd dose will lose its efficacy, then what means the 4th dose won't? Or the 5th dose won't? And so the issue is, when would boosters eventually stop? That's the question, and as of right now, we just don't know. So that's what we know at this time, but as always, as I know more, I promise I'll come back on, share all latest news and updates. Just want to thank you guys for watching. Have a wonderful rest of your Saturday. If you enjoyed today's video, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys on the next one.